Welcome back to Teacher Tech Cafe for our weekly TNT. This week we're going to take an updated look at DocAppender. DocAppender is an add-on for Google Forms that will allow you to collect data and send it to a Google Doc that you have stored in a file in your drive. So to get DocAppender, we first need to go to the add-ons in Google Forms. We'll go down here and click Add-ons and search for DocAppender. And you see that I've already added it by the green check here. But if you haven't, you would just add to your Google Forms and it will be there. You'll then see this puzzle piece with all of your add-ons here, and there is DocAppender. This takes some setup on the front end, but you will be able to use this one form to collect data all year long, such as accommodations for your students. So let's go up to New and create a folder. This is where I want to store these. And I'll title it Accommodations Tracker 1617. Now I need to set up a document for each student that I want to track. So I'll open the folder and add a new Google Doc. All I need here is the name of the student or any heading that I want on the paper. The add-on is going to do the rest for me. So accommodations, and then I can put the student's name. We'll do Amy Dickinson. I'll click up here in the title, put that in. I'm done with that page. I'll add for another student and another Google Doc. And this one we can do accommodations for Willie Shakespeare. And add that as a title. And for the sake of this, we will just create 2 students, but we could go in and add as many students as we needed to track on this. Now we need to go back to Google Forms. This is where we're going to set up our data collection. So I'll call this Accommodations 1617, if I can get that typed. This is going to be very important here. This question, when we use the add-on, is going to tell the form where to send the information. So I'm just going to put in student name, and I'm not going to put in any answer choices. I'll make this required. I also want to put in accommodations. I don't want to have to type everything each time. And I'm going to make this a checkbox so that I can check multiple accommodations for a student. And then I will add accommodations. So your tutor, colored overlay. You can see that I've added several accommodations. You would want to go through and see what you're currently using with your students and add those. And then you always want to add the other option. That leaves a fill in the blank for you. So if there's something that comes up that you haven't thought of, you can add it in the other section. I want to make that required. I'm going to add another question just to let me know if it was successful or not. So I'll make that multiple choice and do a yes and a no. And then I may want to make comments. I'll make that one required. I may want to make comments, notations about things I see in the classroom. So I'm going to make notes, and that will be a choice of a paragraph so that I have plenty of room to type anything that I need to add. I won't make that required though, because that might not be something you fill out every time you use this form. If multiple teachers have the same students and you want to share this so that all of your data goes into the same folder, then you could even add a question that says teacher. And you could put a list of the teachers, and let's change that to multiple choice, that might be working. So we'll put Mrs. Hall and Mrs. Smith. We would want to make that required if we're going to share this document. Now it's time to make DocAppender do its work. So let's go up to the add-ons and choose DocAppender. We want it to open in a sidebar, and we will see it pop up here. So the very first thing that we want to do is choose our targets where we want the information to go. We've already created the folder, so we'll pick from Drive. And we want to choose that Accommodations folder that we made. Okay, so it puts that there, and we hit Next. Now we're going to select the question that will tell the form where the information needs to go. And so look over here where I typed student name. Make sure that it's a multiple choice. At some point I had clicked something else. And so just make sure it's multiple choice. Don't fill anything in, but we do want a multiple choice there. And so when you click select question the very first time, you generally don't see your questions. You have to hit the refresh list and then hit select question. And you'll notice it's got my questions listed there. And I want student name, and I want to save and populate. Now, I know this sounds a little bit crazy and not sure how all of this is going to work, but you will see, and it's great. Notice that it put in exactly what I titled those documents: Accommodations Emmy Dickinson, Accommodations Willie Shakespeare. That's all I need. And so I'm going to hit Next. And this tells me what information I can collect. So I do want a timestamp. That way it's in order. I can carry it to an ARD meeting or meet with a parent and show them the time of each event that occurred. I want all of these. So I'll put clicks on there, checks on there. Now I can also decide how I want this to look. I can get separate bulleted lists. I can do a vertical table. I can do rows in single horizontal tables. I just want a bulleted list. And so now I click Enable. All right, we are done and ready to use the form. Now, you know, to get to a form, you need the link. And so what I would do is copy this link as a shortcut on my iPad or my phone, my desktop, so that I can get to it quickly. It's great to have it on a handheld device, so when you're working in the classroom, it's quick. So I'm going in preview mode so we can see how this works, and I'm also going to put it side by side with Willie's paper. And so let me go here, and I will cut this apart. We can see in my Google Docs, here's Willie's Accommodations Tracker, and here's my accommodations form. So I'll check Willie, and we were working together. I shortened his assignment, and I allowed him to use the voice dictation to do some writing. It was successful, and I'll put a couple of notes in here. I check my name, and I submit the form. Now let's look at Willie's paper over here. Automatic timestamp the information I typed in the form. Submit another form. We do the same thing again, and it will add another one just below that, just so that you can see it. I'll click Willie again. He had a peer tutor this time. It was not successful. They played. And let me check my name. And submit. And over here on Willie's form, we see the next data pop up. We can use the form again. We could do Emmys. We could check information for Emmy. She used a timer. And it was successful. I'm not adding any notes this time. I'll just put my name and submit. Notice we have nothing on Willie's paper here. However, when we go into the Accommodations Tracker, over on Emmy's paper, the information has been entered. So this would give you a quick way to keep up with what you're doing for your kids, because I know you do a lot, and sometimes when we get to a meeting, we can't remember everything we've done, or we don't have the documentation. Another way to use this, let me just show you, is a goal tracker. You have T-tasks, and you need to keep up with the things that you're doing to show that you're working towards your goals. So why not? And I'll pull up one. I have a goal tracker for myself. Why not list the things that you're working on? List some things that you're going to do to move toward those goals. And you can even add a date of action, a calendar in there. And you could put in notes there as well. You hit submit and you have a form tracking your goals for T-tests. Thanks for joining me for this week's Teacher Tech Cafe TNT. Remember, your kids have genius. Let them own it.